Alrighty, welcome back everyone. So today we're going to be having a look at the y-intercept. So this is the other half of our gradient, our linear equation. So gradient is half of it, and the y-intercept is the other half of it. And it gets the strange name of c. C stands for constant, which doesn't sound anything like y-intercept, but it is the same thing. So this is our y-intercept. Now, I want us to be able to find it in two different ways. Now, fortunately, the y-intercept is nice and easy. What does it mean to intercept? It just means to go through. So imagine we have a picture, we've got our axes, and we've got like that. Where is the y-intercept? It lies right here. That's the y-intercept. Why? Because it is where the line, this thing, intercepts the y-axis. All right, so let's have a look at an example. Where is the y-axis, a y-intercept here? Well, all I have to do is go and find the point in which it hits the y-axis, which I hope most of you would see is here. Now, some of you might say, well, do we write it as 0, 5? Well, it's always going to be 0 no matter where I put the y-intercept, meaning that the y-intercept in this case, I'll delete that point, is just going to be equal to 5. Okay, so my y-intercept is 5. Alrighty, so I'm just going to change the view on this. And now I'm going to change the y-intercept. And I want you to tell me what the new y-intercept is. Well, we read it straight off. It hits at 2, so my y-intercept is equal to 2. I'll do one more. So I'm going to change the y-intercept again. What's the y-intercept this time? Well, once again we go up. Where do we hit? Well, we hit in between 4 and 5. So if I'm having a look at the graph, I'm going to say that the y-intercept is 4.5. Alright, sometimes though, like most things, we can have it hit underneath the x-axis. What does that look like? What's the y-intercept now? Well, drag your point across, -2. So the y-intercept here would be -2. Alrighty? So, this is how we find our y-intercept. I'm going to give you one last one and then we're going to be finishing up for today. So Alrighty, so where is the y-intercept on this one? Well, I can't see it, right? The line's over here, all the way down here. And so I've got to follow the line. So if I follow it up this way, is it ever going to hit the y-axis? Well, no, it doesn't look like it will. So let's keep following the line. Where does it hit now? Can you see? It hits at -10. So the y-intercept here is going to be like that. And that is the y-intercept of that line. Alrighty, well, let's go back to my piece of document. And let's have the question now. Okay, so if I can find the y-intercept just by looking at it, where do I find it in an equation? So let's actually do that. Well, the equation usually looks like this. So let's do one. Y equals 3x plus 2. Now, I'll give us a definition here that helps us. The y-intercept is when x equals 0. And we saw that on the graph because it's always on that vertical. It's x equals 0. So the y-intercept is found when x equals 0. Well, if x equals 0, this just becomes y is equal to 3 times 0 plus 2. So y is equal to 2. Right? Alrighty. Tell me what the y-intercept of this one is. Pause the video, have a go. Well, like I said, the y-intercept happens when x equals 0. So y is equal to 4 times 0 plus 3. Y is equal to 3. Alright, well, this is kind of seeming a little bit easy, right? Because we're always just reading off this as ending up as our final answer. Well, there's a reason I'm telling you the definition, and the reason I'm telling you the definition is not all linear equations look like linear equations. Some of them are a little bit messy, like this one here. It doesn't look like y equals mx plus c. It looks like something completely different. But what's the y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept is when x equals 0. And I can still use that definition here to help. So in this case, I'm going to get 3y plus 2 times 0 equals 5. Well, 2 times 0 is 0. 3y is equal to 5. Divide both sides by 3. And I get that y is equal to 5/3. That's my y-intercept. Okay? So, you do the same thing for this one. 2y plus, we'll do plus 6x equals minus 6. Have a go at that one. Well, like I've said, the y-intercept is when x equals 0. So let's substitute 0 in. So 2y plus 6 times 0 equals minus 6. 2y equals minus 6. Divide both sides by 2. Y is equal to minus 3. So my y-intercept is going to be minus 3. Alrighty, so that's how we find the y-intercept when we are on graphs, just by reading it off, and also how to do it from the equation. Hope you had a good time. See you next time. Bye-bye.